Hello and welcome to Quick Bites, where we talk about firefighter nutrition in 10 minutes or less. My name's Megan Louts, and I am a registered dietitian that specializes in first responders. Today, we're talking about shift strategies or ways to eat healthier on shift. Now, of course, I'm sure you know that firehouse nutrition is not always the best, right? While it's great for the soul, it might not be as great for the body, right? The brats and tots, the cheeseburger casseroles, those things are fine in moderation, but when they become a regular thing, they can be concerning. And really, we see this in the research as well. In general, what we see for first responder nutrition, especially at station dinners, we see really large portions, super fast, high fat, red meat, low fiber. It's usually processed. It's cheap, familiar. You're still trying to squeeze by with that $6 a head, even though inflation's through the roof, right? Kind of thing. We see a lot of sweets and donuts on the counters from the, community dropping off stuff, fast food, things that you have to grab on the go. And then, of course, extra caffeine and sugar just to get you through the day, right? Now, of course, as a dietitian on social media, I get tagged in all kinds of stuff like this, right? You can see the lovely bacon wrapped meatloaf. You can see the school lunch, which was a station that told me they did not have enough money for vegetables for their shift of 14 firefighters, and then spend $140 on chicken nuggets, onion rings, cut up hot dogs, and SpaghettiOs. So you can imagine my surprise when they sent me that picture. But again, I'm not claiming this is every station. I'm sure, there are plenty of stations who do try to eat really healthy. However, it can be hard to eat healthy when you're on the go and running calls and doing trainings and all of those other things on a 24 or 48-hour shift, right? So what we're looking for is not something that's going to happen overnight, right? We're not trying to force you to suddenly eat vegan or vegetarian, but we are looking for a culture shift where we're kind of shaving off the portions. Maybe instead of 2 to 3 plates, we're trying to keep it to 1 to 2 plates of food at dinner specifically. We're trying to eat a little bit slower, which I know causes a lot of feelings, but it can help. We're trying to increase fiber through fruits and veggies and whole grains. We're hiding the sweets, hiding the donuts. We're trying to get more water. These are things that we can make slight shifts towards. And then that way, if you slipped, at least most of the time you're doing pretty well. Now, of course, I finally get tagged on something healthy on social media, and this is the Reese's smoothie. It's pretty popular when I take it to stations, but I do put a handful of spinach in it, and that can lead to some feelings, right? But smoothies are a great way to get your greens in without really tasting them. The challenge is, of course, the color. Now, why would I want firefighters to eat more plants? Well, it's typically the first thing to go, right? When you're tired and you're cranky and you're running back-to-back calls and you had 4 calls after midnight the night before, most people aren't reaching for a salad, right? They're, a donut or something quick, something easy. And fruit and veggies tend to fall to the wayside because it takes time to cook and they cost a little bit more sometimes if they're already pre-prepped. So what I'm not saying is with the plant-focused thing is that everybody needs to go vegan. We're actually trying to focus on what's lacking. And as mentioned, that tends to be fruits and veggies in the first responder diet. And the reason we're trying to focus on these fruits and vegetables is because they are high in antioxidants, which can help with cancer prevention and general recovery from shift, general recovery from workouts, right? And then they're also high in fiber. And fiber is super important, again, because it helps keep you full. It can actually help regulate cholesterol. So if you went to your doctor or your OC Health Physical and they told you your cholesterol or your blood glucose was starting to creep up in the case of type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, the first thing a dietitian is going to do in your diet is actually increase fiber. And fiber can be found in fruits, veggies, whole grains like oatmeal, popcorn, brown rice, beans, and legumes. So getting your fiber up can help with that. Now, the numbers for fiber are pretty challenging. We're asking for about 25 grams of fiber per day for women and 38 grams of fiber per day for men. And unfortunately, the food logs that I see from my clients or patients or the firefighters I work with, you're looking at 10 grams a day. So if you're wondering, hey, I kind of interested in seeing where my fiber's landing, you can try logging in something like MyFitnessPal using the free version just to see where your numbers are lying and help motivate you to maybe increase that a little bit. Now, I'm not saying again, yeah, you got to go vegan or vegetarian, but we're really going for as many veggies as possible, or what I like to call AMVAP, right? We've heard of AMREP, as many reps as possible. We're trying to go for as many veggies as possible. And we can add extra at dinner if, lunch and breakfast are harder because you're on the go. You could consider adding a handful of coleslaw veggies into wraps. That adds texture. Plus, they're already pre-shredded and they cost $1 at the grocery store. So they're cost effective and also great for stir fries. Smoothies are fantastic as well, especially a green smoothie. If you do a banana, a handful of spinach, some milk, chocolate protein powder, and a little bit of peanut butter. Again, that's the Reese's smoothie. That's a way that you got a fruit, a veggie, and a protein source first thing in the morning or even after a workout or a training. So really try to get more of these veggies in. In general, I don't recommend specific diets for firefighters because what I've found working with firefighters is that you got, certain diets work better for different people, right? And they also work differently during the season of your career. What works for you as a probie is probably not going to be the same exact thing that works for you as a lieutenant with 4 kids, right? So you have to kind of make those adjustments over the course of the career. But in general, what I'm looking for, whatever diet you choose to do, is the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time you're trying to eat healthy when you can, right? Fruits, veggies, whole grains, nuts and seeds, lean meats. And then 20% of the time you're unsupervised, beer, ice cream, pizza, baked goods, whatever that is, right? But that's, again, just part of your diet to add some razzle dazzle so you don't get bored, because we know black and white does not work for firefighters. Being on and off the plan doesn't work long-term. Where the 80-20 rule incorporates some of your favorite foods, you're allowed to have those things. You're not binging on them because somebody told you on the internet that if you ever eat a donut again, you'll gain 40 pounds. You're incorporating it into your diet. So it's actually something you can do long-term. And even if life kind of hits you in the face, right? Now, some tips and tricks on how to get this stuff in, right? One big thing, what is on the counter matters. And Dr. Jill Joyce from OSU actually did a study on firefighters in her area. She ended up getting a grant to be able to donate several pounds of veggies. It was like, I think, a veggie tray with hummus, fruit, nuts and seeds, trail mix, and granola bars. And the rule that she had for this study was she would drop this food off for free, but only the stuff that she brought could be on the counters. No donuts, no treats, no cookies, nothing. And what she found when the firefighters followed that rule, and they followed it pretty well, what we thought was kind of surprising, they found out that those firefighters actually ate an extra pound of produce per shift per firefighter because of what was available. So the out of sight, out of mind thing can work really well with hiding the donuts, hiding the treats, hiding the community stuff. It's not throwing it out. It's not disrespecting the community, but it's hiding it so that if you guys do want to have it, which you certainly are welcome to do, it's hidden away. It's not the first thing you see after that 4th call after midnight, right? So consider making that a rule, especially during the holiday season, right? Now, one other thing to think about when it comes to this stuff is eating a little bit slower. And might be like, hey, Megan, I'm at one of those busier stations where if I don't eat fast, the lady in the ceiling is going to yell at me. Something to consider for off shift. Why? We find that fast eaters will gain more weight over time than slower eaters. And part of this reason is that it takes time for your brain to catch up with the fact that your stomach is getting full, right? And a lot of times when people inhale food, like quite literally inhale food, they inhale extra air, which also leads to bloating, distension, and discomfort after meals. So when I get firefighters to slow down when they're eating, they actually feel better. They feel fuller faster, and then they stay fuller longer, right? It gave their brain a chance to catch up with their stomach, right? So plus, they're not experiencing as much bloat and gas and all of that after a meal. This might not be realistic on shift, and I hear you. But it's something to consider off shift where you're actually putting your utensil down between bites. You're not using it as a shovel, right? You're putting it on the table between each bite. You're aiming for at least 20 chews per bite. Usually fast eaters are closer to 5 to 10 chews per bite. And they're basically, like I said, chew, chew, inhale. And then try a slower eater to pace yourself with. This is a hack for reducing your portions without visually reducing your portions. But it is going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people who've trained themselves to eat faster, especially if that was a thing from childhood, right? All right. And the last thing I want to talk about is midnight snacks, right? And these are, okay, listen, if they're not a cookie, right? Like I get that. It's not ice cream, but it is healthier options if you are looking to eat healthier midnight snacks, right? So some of the oatmeal packets like Quaker and Kodiak cakes have a high protein, high fiber oatmeal that actually is maple brown sugar. It's flavored and it, does fill you up. Popcorn is great. Ideally air popped or like the white cheddar, smart pop, skinny pop kind of things. Greek yogurt with fruit or cut up apple slices. A protein bar that you actually like. Personally, my favorite protein bar that I actually like is Quest White Chocolate Raspberry. They're a little expensive. But Aloha bars is another one. They have a chocolate one that a lot of my first responders like. You could do some roll-ups, hummus and veggies with some pretzel chips or pita. Those are some things that would be healthier options that are higher in protein and higher in fiber to help keep you full. Because the reality is, if your community is keeping you up after midnight multiple times, you probably are hungry and you probably need a snack to continue to fuel yourself until you get off shift the next day or the day after the next day, depending on if you get held over, right? All right. So the summary for quick bites shift strategies, getting more plants will hit most of your goals. Eating more plants will help you recover better. Eating more plants will help you with fat loss. Eating more plants will help you with muscle gain. It'll help you with cholesterol. It'll help you with blood pressure. The more plants we get in your diet as a first responder, the better the outcomes for most first responder goals. Know that what's on the counter does matter, and clearing that counter of treats might actually help you and your entire shift eat a little bit healthier. And also know that if you're a first responder at a busier station, it's okay to eat after midnight, right? Especially if you're running calls. So that has been Quick Bites. Again, my name is Megan Loutz. You can email me with questions, megan@rescuerd.com. And then you can give me a follow on the social medias at RescueRD on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you for joining.